Ambassador Kim watched the alien vessel through the observation window of Earth's orbital station. The massive ship gleamed like a diamond in the sunlight, its crystalline surface creating rainbows that danced across the black void of space. 3 smaller ships floated nearby, part of the first official delegation from the Galactic Concordat. "They're ready for you, sir," said his aide, handing him the universal translator device. Kim nodded, straightening his formal diplomatic uniform. He had been chosen for this historic meeting because of his calm demeanor and decades of experience in difficult negotiations. As Earth's lead ambassador, the weight of humanity's first impression rested on his shoulders. The meeting chamber had been specially prepared. A large round table dominated the center, with Earth's representatives on one side and empty chairs for the aliens on the other. The room's temperature had been adjusted to accommodate the visitors' preferred climate, slightly warmer than human comfort. When the aliens entered, a hush fell over the human delegation. Commander Vex led the group, walking on 4 thin legs that moved with surprising grace. His skin was a pale blue with patches of darker blue across his elongated head. 4 eyes, too large and too small, blinked independently as he surveyed the room. Behind him came 3 aides, each carrying devices of unknown purpose. "Welcome to Earth space," Kim said once everyone was seated, his words processed through the translator. "We are honored to establish diplomatic relations with the Galactic Concordat." Commander Vex's mouthparts moved in what humans would later learn was a gesture of acknowledgement. "The Concordat extends greetings to Earth. Your world has been observed for some time. We believe your species is ready to join the galactic community." The initial exchanges were cordial but careful. Both sides shared basic information about their cultures, governments, and histories. The aliens spoke of a coalition of 17 species that had formed the Concordat over 3 centuries earlier. They described vast networks of trade routes, shared technology, and mutual defense agreements. When the topic turned to humanity's place in this new order, Kim grew more cautious. "We welcome peaceful relations and cultural exchange," Kim said firmly, "but understand this about humans, we give fair warning when we're annoyed. Heed these warnings." The translator paused briefly before conveying his words. Commander Vex's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, and a sound like quiet bubbling emerged from his speech organs. The human delegation later learned this was the alien equivalent of dismissive laughter. "All species claim special qualities," Vex replied through the translator. "We have catalogued thousands. The Drelmi believe their dreams foretell the future. The Haptori claim they can sense deception through their skin. What makes human annoyance worth special consideration?" Kim smiled politely but did not elaborate. "Time will demonstrate what I mean, should it become necessary. Let us focus on establishing protocols for future communications." The meeting continued for 3 more hours. Agreements were made about communication channels, cultural exchanges, and preliminary trade discussions. The aliens requested permission to establish a small base on Earth's moon for ongoing diplomatic purposes, which was tentatively granted pending security reviews. After the aliens departed, Captain Lee, head of station security, approached Kim in his private quarters. Lee was younger than Kim, with a reputation for directness that complemented Kim's patient approach. "They didn't take your warnings seriously," Lee observed, pouring them both a small drink. Kim accepted the glass with a nod. "They never do. No advanced species ever does. Was it wise to mention our annoyance threshold so early?" Lee asked. "It's only fair to warn them," Kim replied, sipping slowly. "What happens next is their choice." 3 weeks passed with daily communications between Earth and the Concordat representatives. The aliens shared information about faster-than-light travel, introduced Earth to the galactic currency system, and proposed cultural exchange programs. Everything seemed to be progressing smoothly. Then Earth's deep space monitoring stations detected unauthorized scans penetrating military installations. The alien ships were mapping Earth's defense capabilities without permission. Kim requested an immediate meeting with Commander Vex. The alien arrived with only 1 aide, his posture relaxed and confident. "Our sensors detected comprehensive scans of our defense systems," Kim stated. "This was not part of our agreements." "Standard procedure," Vex replied casually. We assess all new species for security classification. Kim's expression remained neutral, but his voice cooled slightly. We find these actions annoying. The translator conveyed his words. Vex and his aide exchanged quick glances, their upper eyes blinking rapidly. To them, such mild language in response to their intrusion confirmed what they already believed: humans were technologically inferior and diplomatically naive. What they failed to understand was that Kim's simple statement wasn't a complaint. It was a warning. Admiral Park stood at the viewport of the diplomatic shuttle, watching the red dust of Mars swirl below. What should have been an empty landscape now featured 3 dome structures bearing the insignia of the Galactic Concordat. The aliens had built them without asking. 6 months ago, there had been only talks about possible future cooperation. Now the aliens were treating the solar system as their own. "Admiral, we're cleared to dock with their command center," said the pilot. Park nodded. She was 53 years old with short gray hair and eyes that revealed nothing. Earth's leadership had selected her to replace Ambassador Kim because of her military background. The situation required someone who understood both diplomacy and strategy. "Remember, no weapons," she told her small team. "But record everything." The shuttle docked with the Concordat's main base, a gleaming structure that hadn't existed 3 weeks earlier. Inside, the air was slightly too warm and smelled faintly of something like cinnamon. Commander Vex waited in what the aliens called their Harmony Chamber, a meeting room designed to put visitors at ease. "Admiral Park, your presence honors us," Vex said through his translator. His 4 eyes blinked in an uneven pattern. The 2 smaller eyes remained fixed on Park's face while the larger ones scanned her companions. "This meeting is overdue," Park responded, taking the offered seat. "We need to discuss your recent activities in our system." Vex made a flowing gesture with his upper limbs. "Progress waits for no one. The Concordat brings prosperity wherever we go." Park placed a data tablet on the table. It showed images of the new Concordat bases, 3 on Mars, 2 on Jupiter's moons Europa and Ganymede, and 1 under construction near Saturn. These installations were built without consultation or permission from Earth authorities, Park said. "Your actions violate our initial agreements." "Agreements evolve," Vex replied. His skin color shifted slightly, taking on a deeper blue hue that humans had learned indicated confidence. "The Concordat Council determined that accelerated integration would benefit humanity. You lack the technology to properly utilize these worlds. We are helping." Park maintained her calm expression. "Your expansion into our system without consultation has become increasingly annoying." The translator converted her words. The alien delegation exchanged quick glances. In their culture, using such mild language in response to territorial expansion signaled acceptance of a subordinate position. If humans were truly upset, surely they would use stronger terms for threats. Commander Vex's posture relaxed visibly. "Noted, Admiral," he responded. "We believe humans will adapt to our presence. The Concordat has guided many developing species into the galactic community. Change is often uncomfortable at first." "We're not asking you to remove the bases," asked one of Vex's aides, surprise evident in his voice. "We're asking you to respect proper protocols moving forward," Park replied. "Earth expects to be consulted before further expansion." The meeting continued for another hour. The aliens made vague promises about future consultation while subtly indicating that their plans would proceed regardless. They spoke of bringing advanced medical technology to Earth, but only after security concerns were addressed, meaning after humanity accepted their dominance. Park's shuttle departed Mars with no real concessions from the Concordat. As soon as they were safely away, she entered her private communication chamber and established a secure quantum link to Earth. Defense Director Han's face appeared on the screen. He was older than Park by several years, with deep lines around his eyes from decades of service. "How did they respond?" he asked without greeting. "Exactly as expected," Park said. "They think our restraint is weakness. They're planning something bigger. Our intelligence suggests they're moving a major fleet element into the outer system," Han confirmed. "Hidden behind Neptune." Park leaned closer to the screen. Prepare protocol tolerance, she ordered. They're not listening. Han nodded gravely. Protocol Tolerance was the codename for Earth's second-stage defense readiness, a plan developed within days of first contact, when humanity realized the potential threats that alien contact might bring. Hidden fleet status? Han asked, referring to Earth's secret military capabilities that had been carefully concealed from alien detection. Maintain stealth. Let's hope we don't need them, Park replied. But move them into position. If the Concordat makes a hostile move, we need to be ready. After ending the transmission, Park remained in the chamber alone. She thought about how quickly things had escalated since first contact. The aliens had seemed so reasonable at first. Now they were clearly positioning themselves to control the entire solar system. What troubled her most was their dismissal of humanity's warnings. They simply didn't believe that humans could be a threat. The word annoyed meant nothing to them. Park wondered if they would learn what it really meant before it was too late for peaceful solutions. The research station on Europa had been there for 15 years. It housed 78 scientists and support staff who studied the moon's vast ocean beneath its icy surface. Dr. Choi had been station director for the past 3 years. She was in the hydroponics lab when the first explosion hit. What was that? She asked, steadying herself against a wall as the station shook. The station's AI answered calmly, unknown impact on Sector 4. Pressure dropping. Emergency protocols activated. Alarms began blaring throughout the station. Dr. Choi rushed to the command center where her operations team was already assessing the damage. It's not a meteor, said her security officer, pointing to the sensor display. Look at the energy signature. That's weapons fire. On the main screen, they could see 3 Concordat vessels positioned above the station. As they watched in disbelief, another energy beam struck the station's main power core. They're targeting key systems, Dr. Choi realized. This is deliberate. Send the emergency signal to Earth. The message barely transmitted before the communication array was destroyed by a precision strike. Dr. Choi ordered everyone to the escape pods, but it was already too late for many. The station's structure was failing too quickly. Only 35 people made it off the station alive. 43 others died as the research facility broke apart, exposing sections to the vacuum of space or crushing them under collapsed structures. The survivors huddled in escape pods, watching through tiny viewports as their home of many years dissolved into floating debris against the backdrop of Europa's icy surface. The Concordat ships remained nearby, ensuring the destruction was complete. On Earth, the emergency signal from Europa Station played in the crisis center where Admiral Park and Director Han stood watching with stony faces. They claim it was a military installation, said a communications officer, relaying the message just received from the Concordat. They say they found weapons development facilities hidden beneath the science labs. That's a lie, Park said quietly. Europa was purely scientific. They know that. Director Han's expression darkened. They wanted to see how we would respond to a direct attack. Within hours, the United Earth Council convened an emergency session. Representatives from all nations gathered in the Great Chamber in Geneva. The mood was somber but controlled. There were no outbursts, no calls for immediate revenge, just a focused intensity that permeated the room. President Son, a tall woman with calm eyes and steady hands, addressed the council. The evidence had been presented, footage from the escape pods, final transmissions from the station, and the Concordat's own statement claiming they had acted in preventative defense. We have attempted diplomacy, President Son said. We have shown patience. We have given warnings. She paused, looking at each council member. The time for warnings has passed. I propose we move to active response. The vote was unanimous. President Son moved to the global communication system that would broadcast not just to Earth but to all Concordat frequencies throughout the solar system. Her message was brief: humanity is now officially annoyed. Within the Concordat flagship orbiting Saturn, Commander Vax gathered his senior officers to view the transmission. They watched the human president's short statement with various reactions ranging from amusement to confusion. See their weakness? Vex said, gesturing to the screen. They respond to our show of force with this word again, annoyed. Their culture is submissive. His second-in-command, a veteran of conflicts with other species, looked less certain. Perhaps we should verify our intelligence on human military capabilities again. The response seems too calm. They use mild language because they have no real power, Vex insisted. Their technology is centuries behind ours. Their ships are primitive. They have no defense against our weapons. This is why they speak of annoyance instead of war. Our next move, asked the weapons officer. Prepare to secure their orbital stations, Vex ordered. Once we control their space assets, they will accept Concordat authority. The Earth Treaty signing will happen within a week. What the aliens couldn't detect were the encrypted signals traveling through quantum channels to facilities hidden throughout the solar system. These signals use technology the Concordat had never encountered, communications that existed outside normal spacetime, impossible to intercept or block. Deep beneath Earth's oceans, inside hollowed-out asteroids, within the clouds of Venus, and buried under the surface of Pluto, dormant weapons systems began powering up. These weren't mere defense platforms or missile launchers. They were the products of scientific breakthroughs that Earth had kept secret, not just from the aliens but from most of humanity. In his secure command center beneath the Pacific Ocean, Director Han received confirmation that all systems were responding. The room was silent except for the soft hum of equipment and the occasional update from his team. He looked at the activation terminal before him, then at the authorization key in his hand. Last chance for peace, he said quietly to himself. Then, with firm resolve, he inserted the key and input the final authorization code on the terminal, protocol annoyance activated. Across the display screens, status indicators changed from standby to active. A soft voice confirmed, protocol annoyance now in effect. All systems online. Awaiting tactical commands. Han looked at the main screen showing the Concordat fleet positions. They were moving into attack formation, completely unaware of what was about to happen. They should have believed us when we warned them, he said to no one in particular. Commander Vex stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Radiant Dominion. His crew worked efficiently around him, preparing for the final phase of their Earth operation. The view screen showed his fleet in perfect formation near Saturn, hidden from Earth by the gas giant's bulk. 60 warships waited for his command to advance. Sir, the Earth government has made no further communications since their annoyed message, reported his communications officer. As expected, Vex replied. They recognize their position. Begin the approach to Earth's orbital stations. Remember, minimal damage. We want their infrastructure intact. Suddenly, the main communication screen flickered and went dark. Throughout the bridge, display panels flashed and reset. Status report, Vex demanded. The communications officer frantically worked at her console. Sir, the entire relay network is down. All channels. Even the quantum entanglement links aren't responding. Impossible, Vex said. Those systems have redundancies. Sir, called the sensor operator. Our surveillance probes throughout the system are going offline. All of them, simultaneously. Vex moved quickly to the tactical station. Activate emergency protocols. Switch to independent ship systems. Before his orders could be implemented, alarms blared throughout the ship. The tactical display showed something the Concordat sensors had never detected before: energy signatures appearing everywhere around them. Where empty space had existed moments before, hundreds of ships materialized. They seemed to fade into reality like ghosts becoming solid. The ships were sleek, with designs unlike anything in the Concordat database. They ranged from small, fighter-sized craft to massive vessels that dwarfed even the Radiant Dominion. How did they hide? Vex whispered, his four eyes widening in shock. Our scans showed nothing. The tactical officer's voice trembled. Sir, we're completely surrounded. Human vessels have encircled every ship in our fleet. They're also appearing near all our bases in the system. Impossible, Vex said again, but with less conviction. The main view screen activated on its own. Admiral Park's face appeared, her expression calm and professional. Commander Vex. This is Admiral Park of the Earth Defense Force. We warned you we were getting annoyed. This is why we warned you. Vex stared in disbelief. How are you broadcasting on our secure channels? We've been inside your systems since day one, Park replied. We understand your technology better than you think. These ships have always been here, Park finished for him. Humanity isn't as primitive as you assumed. We've had stealth technology for decades that operates on principles your sensors can't detect. Vex's second-in-command rushed to his side. Sir, their ships are targeting our weapons and propulsion systems. They could have fired already but haven't. On the screen, Park continued, you have 20 minutes to power down all weapon systems and prepare for boarding parties. Any ship that fails to comply will be disabled. Any ship that fires on our vessels will be destroyed. The screen went dark. Vex turned to his weapons officer. Prepare to fire. Sir, interrupted his tactical officer, I must advise against that action. Look at their positioning. The tactical display showed the human ships had arranged themselves with terrifying precision. Each Concordat vessel was targeted by multiple human ships, all in perfect firing positions with no risk of friendly fire. They've been practicing this, the tactical officer said quietly. They knew exactly where we would be. Before Vex could respond, several Concordat ships near the edges of the formation suddenly lost power. Their lights flickered and went out. What happened? Vex demanded. Some kind of energy pulse, reported an officer. It didn't destroy them, just shut down all systems. As they watched, 3 more Concordat ships went dark. Then 5 more. Sir, we're receiving distress calls, said the communications officer. The human ships are using some kind of targeted electromagnetic pulse. No casualties reported, but the ships are completely disabled. A smaller Concordat vessel near the flagship suddenly fired its weapons at the nearest human ship. The energy beam struck a previously invisible shield that glowed briefly then faded. In response, 4 human vessels fired simultaneously at the Concordat ship, striking with surgical precision. The ship remained intact, but its weapons and engines were now useless. They're only targeting critical systems, the tactical officer observed. They could destroy us, but they're choosing not to. More Concordat ships fell silent. Some tried to flee, only to find human vessels already waiting along their escape routes. Others attempted to fight, but their weapons seemed ineffective against the human defenses. Vex watched as his mighty fleet was systematically neutralized. Ship after ship reported systems failures or precise weapons damage that left them floating helplessly in space. Sir, said his second-in-command, what are your orders? Vex stared at the tactical display. His fleet, the pride of the Concordat, was being defeated without a single casualty on either side. It was humiliating but also bewildering. No species they had ever encountered had shown such restraint when gaining the upper hand. Power down weapons systems, Vex finally ordered. Prepare for boarding. The battle, if it could even be called that, lasted less than an hour. Throughout the solar system, Concordat ships and bases surrendered one by one. Human forces disabled those that resisted, always with precise strikes that avoided casualties when possible. As his flagship systems powered down, Vex realized the terrible mistake the Concordat had made. They had dismissed human warnings as weakness, never considering they might be dealing with a species that had mastered both power and restraint, a combination more dangerous than raw aggression could ever be. Commander Vex had never experienced defeat before. As the shuttle approached Earth's main orbital station, he stared out the viewport at the planet below. The blue world looked peaceful from this distance. It was hard to believe its inhabitants had disabled his entire fleet in less than an hour. 2 human security officers escorted Vex and his 3 remaining senior officers through the station's gleaming corridors. The humans they passed didn't show anger or triumph, just calm professionalism. This unsettled Vex more than hostility would have. They entered a large meeting room where 3 humans waited at a long table. Admiral Park sat in the center, her uniform crisp and her expression neutral. To her right was an older man with a stern face, Director Han, who had activated the human defense systems. To her left sat a tall woman with an air of authority, President Song, leader of Earth's united government. "Please be seated," Park said, gesturing to the chairs across from them. Vex settled his four-legged body into the specially designed seat. His mandibles clicked nervously, an involuntary reaction he couldn't control. "You could have destroyed us," Vex stated, breaking the silence first. His translator conveyed his words in clear human language. Admiral Park nodded once. "That was never our intention. Humans evolved as cooperative predators. We prefer peace but prepare for conflict. Our warnings weren't diplomatic posturing, they were genuine attempts to avoid bloodshed." "Your ships," Vex said, "your technology. How did you hide it from our scans?" Director Han spoke for the first time. "Earth developed stealth technology based on principles your science hasn't discovered yet. We've been preparing defensive measures since we first detected signals from alien civilizations 50 years ago." "But you seem so primitive," Vex said. "Your visible ships, your public technology." "A careful presentation," Park explained. "We showed what we wanted you to see. We've learned that appearing too advanced too quickly often leads to conflict." President Song slid a data tablet across the table. "These are our terms. They are non-negotiable but fair." Vex picked up the tablet and read through the document with his four eyes. His officers leaned closer to view it as well. As he read, his mandibles stopped clicking in surprise. The terms were indeed reasonable: withdrawal from human territory, reparations for the destruction of Europa Station, and open technological exchange between their civilizations. There were no demands for surrender, no territorial concessions beyond what was already rightfully human, no punitive measures beyond making amends for the lives lost. "Why show mercy after our mistake?" Vex asked, looking up from the tablet. Director Han leaned forward. "Because now you understand our warnings. When humans say they're annoyed, it's not a sign of weakness, it's the final warning before action. We don't need to destroy you to make that point. You should know," President Song added, "that we disabled your fleet using only a fraction of our capabilities. We hope this demonstration is sufficient to establish mutual respect." Vex placed the tablet on the table. "The Concordat has never encountered a species like yours before. You appear gentle until threatened, then reveal unexpected strength. Yet even in victory, you choose restraint." "That is the human way," Park said simply. "We will defend ourselves when necessary, but we prefer cooperation. The choice is yours, conflict or collaboration." "I must contact the Concordat High Council," Vex said. "But I believe they will accept these terms. You have shown us a new path forward." 1 month later, a formal peace treaty was signed. The Concordat began withdrawing from the solar system, maintaining only a small diplomatic presence on Earth's moon. Work began on a memorial for those lost on Europa Station, funded entirely by Concordat reparations. Word spread quickly through the galaxy. The mighty Concordat, which had integrated dozens of species into its fold, had been humbled by a species no one had taken seriously. Intelligence officers from various galactic powers sought to understand what had happened. Within a year, the diplomatic protocol manuals across the galaxy were updated with a special notation about human communication. Expression of annoyance from human representatives should be treated as highest level alert. Immediate de-escalation recommended. Other species found it strange that such a mild word could carry such weight, but none questioned it. They had seen what happened when humans got annoyed. The relationship between humanity and the Concordat gradually improved. The technological exchange benefited both sides. Humans gained access to faster-than-light travel, while the Concordat received the principles behind Earth's stealth technology. 5 years after the conflict, Commander Vex returned to Earth as the Concordat's ambassador. At a formal dinner celebrating the anniversary of the peace treaty, he raised his glass in a toast. "To the humans," he said, "who taught us the most important lesson in diplomacy: when someone tells you they're annoyed, believe them." The room filled with laughter, but there was wisdom in his words. Throughout the galaxy, species now listened more carefully when humans spoke. They had learned that Earth's greatest strength wasn't its hidden fleet or advanced technology, but its habit of giving fair warning before taking action. It was a lesson the galaxy would not forget. The end.